Believers, thank you for watching this video. Look, what I'm about to tell you in this video is quite redundant, I know. And some of you may say, Rashid, why do you waste your breath making this video? This is something way too obvious. People should know this. But you know what? I understand that people should know this, but still it's important to mention it. Okay? Look, some things are so obvious that you forget about them. Okay? That's just the way it is. So, that's why I, from time to time, make remind videos for you. So, what I'm teaching you in this video is as follows. Never, look at that, never, remember that, or write it down, never confront a situation God provided you a way out of. Let me say it one more time. Never confront a situation the Heavenly Father provides you a way out of. Let me explain what I mean with that. We as human beings, unless we're born again, we have the tendency to flee, to escape situations, to just cut people off, or to have enough and just want to go. Or we have the tendency to escalate, we just confront a situation and to tell someone to their face we don't like them or whatever. Or when we feel wronged, we tend to address it. We tend to confront people saying, hey, I feel wronged by what you did or whatever. Now, confrontation is always risky because it can go in any way. Sometimes it can end up bad. So it's good that you avoid confrontation. But in this video, I'm not talking much about confronting people, I'm talking about confronting circumstances. Look, some people you don't confront because they don't want solutions. Someone who's dedicated to escalate when they feel wronged, and they always feel wronged when they don't have their way, good luck confronting such an individual. You'll bring a lot of unnecessary harm on yourself. Okay? So you don't do that. If someone carries a knife with them, okay, they may not tell you they have a knife, but they carry a knife with them because they know that anytime anyone confronts them, they're ready to escalate. Some people just want to escalate to relieve themselves. So you don't give them an opportunity to escalate, so you don't confront them. We understand that. But the same you do with circumstances, okay? When a circumstance is oppressive and there's a easy way out provided by the Heavenly Father, take the easy way out. Let's say you live with neighbors, okay? And your neighbors are scapegoating you. Your neighbors don't want you around. Your neighbors are causing trouble. Your neighbors are calling the police on you multiple times. And one day, after praying, you get an offer to move to another place. Even though you have your job and much of your stuff and at that address, you have the opportunity to move to a whole other place away from those toxic and dangerous people. What do? You just move away. Yes, if you move away, they're going to feel like they've won. Who cares if they feel like they've won? You win. Because you're away from their lazy behind. You're away from their broke ass and their demons and their nonsense. Okay? Or let's say now that, let me give another example. Let's say now you are applying for jobs but just can't find a job, but you are able to be on welfare for a few months. And here's the thing. You know that jobs are in your society are quite demanding. Now, people may talk about you, oh, you're on welfare, you don't work, what type of man are you? But here's the thing. If you need to recover and you need to heal, and because God wants you to focus on better stuff, then take the welfare. Don't be proud. Okay? Or let me give something else. What if someone was fighting you all the time and suddenly they've stopped because they realized they're wasting their effort fighting you because none of the harmful things affect you? And if the article told them to just cut it out, so the public suddenly stopped oppressing you. Now you still demand an apology. You still think, what is this? Why did you guys enable those people to talk trash about me? Why did you guys enable a smear campaign? Why did you guys allow it to come so far? And you're right. They should not only apologize, they should also make amends to you. They should change. But here's the thing. Those people don't want solutions. It's because they don't want solutions that they don't address the smear campaign against you. They enable the smear campaign against you because they don't want solutions. They were thinking, oh, if Rashid is in a negative daylight, at least not us. They enabled it because they're not interested in solutions themselves. And they thought they could get rid of you or shut you down, and it didn't work. So now they are embarrassed. And they're embarrassed and humiliated. And when they're embarrassed and humiliated, that pain is going to cause them to escalate. It's going to cause mental breakdowns. And because they don't want mental breakdowns, they just stop oppressing you. What do? Move away from those people. Because the only reason they stopped oppressing you because they had no other option. And they don't want to take responsibility for what they've done either. By confronting them, you'll be triggering unnecessary conflict that may turn bloody. Yes, bloody. And wasn't necessary. So, if people did you dirty, and they kept doing you dirty, and they refuse to acknowledge the dirt they did to you, or they keep justifying their dirt, if you know very well they have no justification for it, and suddenly they stop, they become kind towards you, this is because they know they can't win. So now they start to bail themselves out. And of course, you don't want to comply with this because there's no compliance with justice. I get it. Don't reconcile with them because there's no justice there, so there's no safety. Don't trap yourself by allowing them to have a grip on you. Because they want to have a grip on you to sabotage you. They can't get rid of you, so they start to sabotage you by being kind towards you now. What do? You move away from them. Don't confront the situation because you've won in this situation. If you won the war, why you keep on fighting? In every military conflict, the party that wins the war stops fighting because they've won. Because sometimes we have the tendency, even as believers, to keep on fighting even after we've won. And look, you may not realize you've won the situation. Others do. So if people were doing you dirty and suddenly they all stop doing you dirty, but you still keep on confronting them about the dirt they've done onto you over and over again, and people just don't want to account for it, other people now know you're right. They know that you're in your right mind for demanding account for those people, but other people also may become tired of you because they're saying, listen, dude, those people did you dirty, they're wrong, they're out of mind, that's true. The fact alone that they don't even dare to apologize and they don't even dare to improve themselves shows that they are out of their mind. So why are you in your right mind confronting people who are out of their mind? If they're out of their mind, let them be out of their mind. Because if you confront them while they're out of their mind, you now may start a whole onset of explosive situations that you never asked for. And we never asked for. So now some people around may have a problem with you confronting people who are out of their mind. It's not that those people are enemies, that they're against you, but they think, come on now, let this go. Look, I had to learn this too, so I'm not looking down on you. Never confront a situation God provided you a way out of. Does that mean you just flee anytime people start commotion? No, you're not a coward. You don't just flee. You don't just give in just to keep so that people don't get upset. You don't operate in fear. I know. But listen, some people just don't want solutions. Some people just want to escalate. And here's the thing. When people are out of their mind because all their anger backfired on them, this humiliation, this embarrassment will cause them to explode. Whether explode on you or on someone else, they will explode. So when their anger backfired and they haven't exploded yet, don't trigger the explosion by confronting them or by keep mentioning the stuff. Look, am I saying that we need to cover up stuff? Listen, we do not enable evil by covering up crimes. But sometimes it's good to leave something aside for a while. I'm not saying you forget about it, you leave it aside. Why? Because look, sometimes insisting on a solution may cause more problems than necessary. Sometimes the solution is you need to get out. Sometimes the solution is you need to shake the dust off your feet. That may be the solution. The solution you're looking for may not benefit you nor anyone else for that matter. And that's what you need to realize. Look, if you, for example, have a brother and he received inheritance but refuses to give you half of the portion of the land, by law, your father left it to both of you. But he, for some reason, doesn't want to give you the land. You can go to the court and sue him and get a plot of land. But what's going to happen? You are now neighbors of one another. So that, because it's a plot of land that's divided in two. So you're now neighbors of one another, and he and his family, that means he and his household, that means he, his wife, his children, can't stand you. So what's going to happen? You're going to have ill will close to you and your own household for decades. Is that worth it? Yes, it's right for you to sue him to get a plot of land. But what if it's better and more useful for you to just forget about the plot of land, forget about inheritance, and start all over with the Lord? There are times people fight for what's right, for what's legally rightfully theirs, and they end up dying, or they end up triggering a lot of enmity towards them. Look, I'm not telling you to just accept the status quo. I'm not telling you to just accept injustice. I'm not telling you to just allow bad stuff to happen and just find a way to deal with it. I'm not telling you to be a polite victim. I'm telling you to be a strategic overcomer. I want you to thrive in a strategic and practical way. Okay? Sometimes the solution is you need to get out. You need to move on. You need to start over. That may be the solution. Do not confront the situation God provides you a way out of. Okay? Stop fighting if you've won the war. Because if you continue to fight, even after you've won the war, people are eventually going to ask, why is he still fighting? Why is he still present on this issue? And then, even though you're right, even though you're not wrong, I'm not saying you're wrong, you're not wrong, you're right. But even though you are right, you being right does not serve the purpose nor the situation anymore. And this is why, I'm not approving this, okay? Absolutely not. This is why in the world you have so many court cases. I've already explained a court case is a case society doesn't want to be resolved. Because once the case is resolved, all the issues that led to the murder or the disappearance will come to the light. And when that happens, things are going to escalate more and more and more. So, when someone has been murdered in a community and people had ill will towards the victim, people are going to feel guilty for the ill will they had towards the victim. And they have to explain to their children why they had ill will towards someone else, and they can't explain that. So what happens, the police as well as the pagan courthouses, they will put the case aside and the case will grow cold. 20, maybe 30 years later, when the whole situation has changed, now they can come out, tell who the perpetrator was, because now there will not be such an explosive consequence once the case is solved. They do this to prevent unnecessary escalation. For example, let's say a young man was shot dead, and many people in the neighborhood couldn't stand this young man. And the perpetrator only decided to kill this young man because he thought, you know what? I'm not willing to do anything with my life anyway, and a lot of people hate this guy. You know what? Let me help the people out by killing this guy. Now, if the police would arrest the killer would confess in court that most of the people hated that guy. Now, if this comes out, then this is going to lead to other conflicts in the community, which may lead to more homicides or to more stuff. So one individual already died. That's a tragedy. Though someone died due to violence. If all the facts come out at that point in time, it's going to be more deaths likely. Dead people that they cannot resurrect. And then they not give life back. So that's why in the world they will put cases aside, let cases grow cold, so that in later decades it can be solved. That is to avoid escalation here and now. Now, it's a strategic way the world does it. I don't approve it, but I understand why they're doing it. Now, in a similar way, we need to know when to remain silent and to move on. Because it's not going to benefit you to win unnecessary fights. Even if you won every fight you got involved in, if those fights were not necessary, and if those fights were, if those fights were, if those fights were not only not necessary, but if they could have been avoided easily, people are going to perceive you as a warmonger. And as a warmonger, they will respect you and validate and acknowledge you, but they will feel uncomfortable around you. So that will backfire also. Know when to shake the dust off your feet and move on. Be at peace.